Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world that whispers endlessly of sharing our joys, our dreams, our struggles, and yet in this symphony of voices, a quiet truth emerges: not all burdens are meant to be carried aloud. When you tell others about your problems, consider, are you seeking solutions or simply an audience? Often we externalize our struggles not to resolve them but to feel heard, to affirm that we exist in our suffering. But in doing so, we risk becoming entangled in a cycle where the problem itself grows larger, fed by the energy of repeated storytelling. Understand this: your problems are not your enemy. They are your teachers. By holding them close, by sitting with them in silence, you begin to decode their lessons. When you look inward, not outward, you discover a profound strength, a wellspring of clarity that cannot be granted by another but must be unearthed within. This is not to say that connection is unimportant. There is deep power in vulnerability shared with those who can truly hold space for you. But to spill your troubles indiscriminately is to give away your power. It dilutes the essence of your experience, and worse still, invites unsolicited judgments, solutions, or pity that may cloud your own understanding. The paradox is this: the more you seek external validation for your pain, the more distant you grow from the wisdom it seeks to impart. But when you carry your burdens quietly, tending to them like a gardener tending to soil, you prepare the ground for transformation. What was once a problem begins to take root, growing into insight, resilience, and peace. So do not run from your pain, nor parade it before the world. Meet it, sit with it, befriend it. And in that sacred space of silence and self-trust, you will find the strength not only to endure but to transcend. Remember, the greatest transformations happen not in the noise of the world, but in the stillness of your own heart. When we share our problems with others, we believe we are lightening the load. We imagine that by speaking our troubles into existence, we are somehow disempowering them. But often the opposite happens. Problems, like seeds, grow with attention. Each time we articulate our struggles to others, we water those seeds, giving them the nourishment they need to sprout and spread their roots deeper into our psyche. Externalizing problems is an act of acknowledgement, yes, but it is also an act of magnification. In narrating our pain, we assign it form, shape, and energy. The more we tell the story of our suffering, the more defined that story becomes. It solidifies in our mind, and soon we begin to identify with it. Our struggles cease to be transient moments in our lives, and instead become the foundation of who we perceive ourselves to be. Think of it this way: your mind is a vast landscape, and every thought, every problem is like a shadow passing over it. When you speak of your problems repeatedly, you give those shadows weight, transforming them into towering structures that block the sunlight of perspective. What could have been a fleeting moment of discomfort becomes an enduring monument to suffering. Moreover, when you share your problems with others, you are not just giving voice to your pain, you are inviting external interpretations, reactions, and energies into the mix. Each listener, with their own biases and limitations, adds another layer to your narrative. Some may amplify your fears, while others may diminish your experience, leaving you feeling unheard or invalidated. Either way, the problem grows not in reality, but in your mind, because it now carries the weight of multiple perspectives. This is not to say that you should never speak of your struggles. There is a time and place for vulnerability. But to externalize every problem indiscriminately is to risk entangling yourself in a web of overanalysis, external judgment, and emotional stagnation. Problems are like echoes. The more you call out to them, the louder they seem to reply. Instead, consider sitting with your problems quietly. Let them remain unspoken for a while, like a ripple in a still pond. Watch them without judgment, without the need to share or explain. In that silence, you may find that they begin to dissipate on their own, or better yet, reveal their true nature not as insurmountable obstacles, but as opportunities for growth and transformation. By resisting the urge to externalize your problems, you preserve their power to teach you. You allow yourself the space to feel, to process, and ultimately to transcend. And in doing so, you discover that not every shadow must be named, and not every storm must be shared. Some can simply be weathered in quiet strength, Doctor. When faced with a problem, our instinct is often to look outward. We reach for advice, lean on others, or search for external remedies to soothe our discomfort. This is natural after all. We live in a world that values collaboration and believes that solutions often lie in the collective. But there is a profound truth. We often overlook the most meaningful answers are not found outside of us, but within. When you seek solutions externally, you are placing the power for change in someone else's hands. You consult others for guidance, hoping their perspectives will shed light on your path. While advice and support can be valuable, they are not substitutes for the deep work of self-reflection. Only you truly understand the complexity of your situation, your emotions, your fears, and the intricate web of thoughts that surround it. To look outward for answers is to ignore the profound wisdom that resides in your own heart and mind. Consider this: when you encounter a challenge, it is not an external event alone. It is also a mirror reflecting something within you. Perhaps it reveals a fear you must confront, a boundary you must set, or a truth you have been avoiding. If you rush to others for solutions, you risk bypassing this critical self-discovery. You may resolve the surface issue but miss the deeper lesson it was meant to teach. Furthermore, external solutions often come wrapped in the perspectives and biases of those offering them. What works for one person may not resonate with your unique circumstances. Advice given in good faith can sometimes lead you further from your truth, creating confusion rather than clarity. By seeking answers within, you bypass this noise and tune into your own inner guidance, a voice that, when trusted, rarely leads you astray. Seeking solutions within is not about isolation, it is about sovereignty. It is the act of sitting quietly with your problem, examining it from every angle, and trusting that the answers will emerge from your own insight. This process requires patience and courage. It may involve discomfort as you confront aspects of yourself you would rather ignore. But it is through this discomfort that true growth happens. Imagine your inner self as a vast ocean. When a storm arises, the surface churns, and the waters become turbulent. But deep below, the ocean remains calm and steady. In the same way, when faced with turmoil, the solutions often lie beneath the chaos of the mind, in the still, quiet depths of your being. To access them, you must turn inward, resisting the urge to seek immediate relief from external sources. This is not to say that you should shun the wisdom of others. There is value in seeking perspectives and sharing experiences. But let these be supplements, not substitutes. Use them as tools to refine your understanding, not as crutches to avoid doing the work yourself. True empowerment comes from realizing that while others may point the way, only you can walk the path. When you seek solutions within, you reclaim your power. You learn to trust yourself and your ability to navigate life's complexities. And as you do, you cultivate a profound sense of inner peace, a knowing that no matter what arises, the answers are already within you, waiting to be discovered. In life, we are conditioned to view problems as adversaries, obstacles standing between us and the happiness or success we desire. They appear as inconveniences or even injustices, disrupting the smooth flow of our plans. But what if, instead of seeing problems as enemies, we began to regard them as teachers? What if every challenge we face is, in fact, an opportunity to learn, grow, and evolve? Problems, by their very nature, demand our attention. They shake us out of complacency, forcing us to confront what we might otherwise ignore. Without them, we might glide through life on autopilot, never questioning, never growing. It is through these disruptions that we are called to examine ourselves, to ask difficult questions, and to seek deeper truths. Each problem carries with it a lesson, a piece of wisdom uniquely tailored to our journey. Some problems teach us patience, urging us to slow down and embrace the process rather than rushing to the outcome. Others teach resilience, challenging us to persevere even when the path ahead seems uncertain. Still others teach humility, reminding us of the limits of our control and the importance of surrender. The mistake many of us make is in resisting our problems. We rail against them, wishing them away, or trying to solve them as quickly as possible so we can return to normal, but in our haste we miss the profound teachings they offer. Problems are not meant to be avoided or defeated, they are meant to be understood. They are like riddles, presenting themselves not to frustrate us, but to lead us to deeper insight. Consider this: every major breakthrough in your life, every moment of profound clarity or growth has likely been preceded by a problem. It is the struggle that sharpens our perspective, the discomfort that propels us to seek change. In this way, problems are not roadblocks, but stepping stones, guiding us to higher levels of awareness and capability. Even the most painful problems, loss, failure, betrayal, are rich with lessons. They teach us about the impermanence of life, the importance of self-worth, and the strength we carry within us. They show us where we are still clinging, where we need to let go, and where we have the capacity to love and forgive. These are not easy lessons, but they are invaluable ones, shaping us into the people we are meant to become. To view problems as teachers requires a shift in perspective. It asks us to move from a place of resistance to a place of curiosity. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we might ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" This subtle change transforms the way we experience challenges. Suddenly, the struggle becomes less about enduring and more about discovering. It's important to note that seeing problems as teachers does not mean minimizing the pain they bring. Growth is often uncomfortable, and some problems cut deeply. But even in pain, there is wisdom. Each problem invites us to expand our capacity for understanding, compassion, and resilience. And as we embrace these lessons, we find that the very challenges we once feared become the catalysts for our greatest transformations. In the end, problems are not enemies to be conquered. They are messengers guiding us back to ourselves. When we learn to welcome them with open minds and hearts, we unlock their potential to teach, heal, and inspire us in ways we never imagined. In moments of distress, the urge to share our problems can be overwhelming. It feels natural, even necessary, to speak about our struggles, seeking relief, validation, or perhaps just a listening ear. But while sharing can be therapeutic in the right circumstances, indiscriminate sharing with anyone and everyone, without discernment, carries significant risks. It is a habit that can unintentionally complicate matters, weaken personal growth, and erode the very support we seek. When you share your problems indiscriminately, you expose your vulnerabilities to a wide range of reactions, many of which may not be helpful or constructive. Some people may listen with genuine empathy, but others might respond with judgment, unsolicited advice, or even indifference. These responses can leave you feeling misunderstood, invalidated, or worse, criticized for your struggles. What begins as an attempt to unburden yourself can end up adding to the weight you carry. Another risk lies in the loss of privacy. When you share your problems with those who may not respect the sanctity of your experiences, you open yourself to gossip or misrepresentation. A moment of vulnerability shared in confidence can quickly become public knowledge, reshaped and retold in ways you never intended. This breach of trust not only deepens the original pain, but also erodes your sense of safety in future interactions. Indiscriminate sharing can also dilute the meaning of your experiences. When you recount your struggles repeatedly to different audiences, the act of retelling can sometimes strip the problem of its deeper significance. Instead of sitting with your emotions and learning from them, you risk turning your pain into a narrative that serves external purposes, whether to elicit sympathy, seek validation, or fulfill a social habit of sharing. Over time, this can distance you from the root of the problem and the wisdom it holds. Moreover, indiscriminate sharing can foster dependency on external validation. The more you share your problems openly, the more you might begin to rely on the feedback of others to shape your understanding of your situation. This externalization of your emotional processing can weaken your ability to trust your own judgment, leaving you more confused and disconnected from your inner voice. It is also worth considering the impact of your sharing on others. Not everyone is equipped to hold space for your pain, and some may feel burdened by the weight of your problems, especially if they lack the emotional capacity to respond in a meaningful way. This unintended imposition can strain relationships and lead to feelings of resentment or fatigue in those you confide in. To avoid these risks, it is crucial to approach sharing with discernment. Ask yourself, what is my purpose in sharing this? Am I seeking genuine support or merely an outlet for my emotions? Who in my life is truly capable of offering understanding and compassion without judgment? By answering these questions honestly, you can begin to share in ways that are constructive rather than harmful. There is immense value in selective vulnerability sharing with those who have proven themselves trustworthy and capable of holding space for your emotions. These individuals act as mirrors, reflecting your experiences with care and offering insights that resonate with your own inner wisdom. They are not there to fix you or solve your problems, but to walk alongside you as you navigate your journey. Selective vulnerability begins with understanding that not everyone is deserving of our full openness. It is not an act of withholding or secrecy, but of discernment. Just as we would not hand the keys to our home to a stranger, we should not hand over the keys to our inner world to those who have not earned our trust. By choosing wisely who to share with, we ensure that our moments of vulnerability are met with care, respect, and understanding. When we practice selective vulnerability, we prioritize quality over quantity. Sharing your struggles with a few trusted individuals, those who have demonstrated empathy, reliability, and the ability to hold space for you, creates a safe environment for healing and growth. These people act as pillars of support, offering thoughtful insights and unwavering presence, rather than superficial reactions or misguided advice. On the other hand, sharing indiscriminately can dilute the power of vulnerability. The more you expose your inner world to a broad audience, the more you risk being met with indifference, judgment, or even exploitation. Not everyone is equipped to handle the weight of your emotions, nor do they all have your best interests at heart. Unintentionally, you may find yourself feeling misunderstood or betrayed, which only compounds the pain you were hoping to alleviate. Selective vulnerability also empowers you to set boundaries. It reminds you that you are not obligated to explain yourself to everyone or justify your feelings to those who may not truly understand them. It allows you to maintain control over your narrative, deciding who is worthy of hearing it and who is not. This act of self-respect is a vital aspect of emotional health, as it shields you from unnecessary harm and preserves your energy for those who genuinely care. At its core, selective vulnerability is an act of self-love. It reflects your understanding of your own worth and your recognition that not everyone is entitled to your innermost thoughts and feelings. It allows you to honor your experiences, treating them as sacred rather than casual. This perspective encourages introspection and self-reliance, reminding you that your value is not determined by how much you share, but by how intentionally you live and connect. Practicing selective vulnerability does not mean shutting yourself off from the world or avoiding connection. Instead, it is about being deliberate and thoughtful in how you share your life with others. It is the art of balancing openness with discretion, knowing when to speak, and when to hold back, and trusting your instincts to guide you toward the right people and moments. In a culture that often equates vulnerability with oversharing, selective vulnerability stands as a powerful reminder. You are the guardian of your own story. By choosing wisely who to trust, you cultivate relationships that nourish you, protect your emotional well-being, and honor the depth of your journey. At first glance, seeking external validation seems entirely natural. We are social beings, hardwired to connect and to look to others for affirmation, approval, and recognition. Validation feels like a warm light, assuring us that we are seen, valued, and understood. But lurking within this comfort is a paradox, a trap that can pull us away from the very peace and self-assurance we seek. External validation can be fleeting, like a drop of water on parched soil. It quenches an immediate thirst, but never truly nourishes the roots of self-worth. The moment someone praises us or acknowledges our struggles, we feel a temporary sense of relief or satisfaction. But this feeling often fades quickly, leaving us yearning for more. Instead of addressing the underlying need for self-acceptance, we begin to chase validation, as if it were the solution to our discomfort. The paradox lies in this: the more you depend on external validation, the more disconnected you become from your own sense of worth. Over time, your confidence and identity become tied to the opinions, judgments, and reactions of others. You measure your value not by your own standards, but by the applause or approval you receive. And in doing so, you hand over the power to define your worth to forces outside of your control. This dependence creates a cycle that can be difficult to break. Each time you seek and receive validation, it reinforces the idea that your worth must come from outside yourself. And when validation is absent, or worse, when criticism takes its place, you are left feeling diminished, questioning your value, and striving harder to earn back the approval you have come to rely on. But here's the paradoxical twist. The more you seek validation externally, the less you are able to feel it internally. True self-worth comes from within. It is a quiet, steady knowing that does not waver in the face of external praise or criticism. Yet by habitually looking outward for reassurance, you weaken your connection to this inner source of strength. Instead of nurturing your own sense of worth, you become increasingly reliant on external voices to fill the void. This is not to say that external validation is inherently wrong or unnecessary. Recognition and affirmation from others can be deeply meaningful, especially when they come from those we trust and admire. But the key is to see such validation as a gift, not a necessity, as something that complements your self-worth rather than defines it. Breaking free from this paradox requires a shift in focus. Instead of seeking validation outside yourself, begin to cultivate it from within. This means learning to trust your own judgments, honoring your own efforts, and acknowledging your own growth without needing others to affirm it. It involves sitting with yourself, listening to your inner voice, and recognizing that your worth is intrinsic, not contingent on external approval. It also requires embracing the discomfort of not always being seen or understood by others. Not everyone will validate your choices, your struggles, or your achievements, and that's okay. What truly matters is that you see, understand, and honor yourself. The more you practice this, the less you will need others to confirm your value, and the more grounded you will feel in your own truth. Remember, you are not defined by your struggles, nor are you bound by the validation or judgment of others. Your growth is yours alone, and it unfolds not through force or frantic pursuit, but through trust, awareness, and the courage to be present with yourself. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by the noise of the world or the weight of your challenges, retreat for a moment into stillness. Let the answers come not from outside, but from the depths of your own being. For in this stillness lies the key to unlocking your truest self, the self that is whole, resilient, and ever transforming. And as you rise from that stillness, may you carry its quiet power with you, moving through life not with haste, but with grace, purpose, and the wisdom of your inner truth. Thank you.